Being human. What does that really mean when you're a puppet? This is the world of Lies of P, a dark and twisted reimagining of Carlo Collodi's classic tale of Pinocchio. But unlike the whimsical story we grew up with, this version delves deep into the murky waters of what it truly means to be human. Yes, it sounds deep and philosophical, so get ready for some uncomfortable questions. Let's begin. First, as players guide P through the Gothic, Belle Europe-inspired city, they're faced with a basic question. What separates humans from machines? In a world where puppets have gained awareness and humans are losing their humanity, the lines between artificial and natural beings blur. This creates a powerful backdrop for exploring the nature of consciousness, free will, and morality. But let's untangle this better. The game's central mechanic revolves around a choice that players must make repeatedly: to lie or to tell the truth. This seemingly simple decision carries profound implications, not just for the story progression, but for P's very nature. Each lie told inches P closer to humanity, a paradoxical twist on the original tale where lies were punished with the growth of Pinocchio's nose. But why does lying make P more human? Perhaps it's because the ability to deceive, to create false narratives, is uniquely human. It requires imagination, understanding of others' perspectives, and a grasp of complex social dynamics. Here, the act of lying becomes a metaphor for the complexity of human nature, our capacity for both good and evil, truth and deception. As P navigates the dangerous streets of Krat, players enter a world where the quest for humanity has led to terrible consequences. Puppets, once unable to harm humans because of the Grand Covenant, have fallen victim to a phenomenon called the puppet frenzy. In their desperate attempt to become more human, they have become more violent, massacring the city's population. Meanwhile, humans are afflicted by a mysterious petrification disease, slowly turning to stone and losing their humanity in the most literal sense. This dual crisis sets the stage for P's journey, making players question the value and meaning of humanity itself. But it's not just that. The game's story is filled with moments that challenge our ideas about what it means to be human. In one especially powerful scene, players find a letter about a wedding between a human and a puppet. What starts as a touching story of love quickly turns horrific when the human brutally kills their puppet's spouse. This shocking twist captures the game's main theme, the ability for both deep love and unimaginable cruelty that defines the human experience. And as the players move forward, they face more and more complex moral dilemmas. The choices they make not only affect the game's outcome, but also reflect our own understanding of humanity. Do we prioritize self-preservation or sacrifice for others? Do we show mercy to our enemies or seek revenge? These decisions shape P's journey, gradually defining whether he becomes more human or stays a puppet. But if a puppet can think, feel, and make moral choices, are they any less human than a person of flesh and blood? On the other hand, if a human loses the ability to empathize or make conscious decisions, do they truly stop being a human? The thing is, depending on the choices made throughout the journey, P may embrace his puppet nature, become human, or chart a unique path between the two. That's what defines the end of the game, and each ending offers a different perspective on what it means to be human. So, perhaps there is no single definitive answer. There's this thing which I call the humanity paradox. I think that's the central theme of Lies of P, because it permeates every aspect of the game. You see, on one side, we have puppets like P striving to become more human. They lie, they feel, they make moral choices, all in an attempt to bridge the gap between artificial and natural beings. If you look closely, their journey mirrors our own quest for self-improvement and growth, our human desire to transcend our limitations. A puppet doesn't, or at least shouldn't, be able to do that. On the other hand, we witness humans losing their humanity both figuratively and literally. The petrification disease, the major pandemic that has claimed the lives and residents of Krat, is a cool and powerful metaphor for the ways in which we become hardened or petrified in our views and behaviors, losing touch with our empathy and compassion, what essentially gives us life or soul in one way or the other. The humans who turn against the puppets, driven by fear and prejudice, demonstrate how easily we can abandon our humanity in the face of the unknown or the different. So what do I mean by all this? There's a paradox driving a fascinating dynamic where the line between humanity and non-human becomes increasingly blurred. As P becomes more human-like through his choices and experiences, many of the human characters in the game display decidedly inhuman behaviors. This reversal challenges players to reconsider their preconceptions about what qualities truly define humanity. So I have to ask you, what does it mean to be truly human? Do we really know? I could be a puppet right now, but while we try to answer that question, the game has a unique way of looking at it. Let me explain. The ergo system, which allows P to upgrade and customize his abilities, is the human part of growth and adaptation. As P becomes more powerful and skilled, is he becoming more human or simply a more advanced machine? Good question. The game leaves it to open interpretation, so make your own conclusion. Now, what I find truly intriguing is how Lies of P uses the concept of lying as a path to humanity. In the original Pinocchio story, not the Disney-fied version, lying was a moral failing that prevented the puppet from becoming a real boy. Here, it's presented as a complex human trait, neither inherently good nor bad, but a necessary part of navigating the social world. Interesting, right? It basically says that the more you lie, the more human you become. When players choose to lie, they see the message, "Your springs are moving," or "The ergo is whispering," indicating an increase in P's humanity. This mechanic makes players wrestle with the moral implications of their choices. Is it okay to lie if it benefits a greater good, or does being able to deceive make us more human or less? In a game, the moral side of these decisions might not matter that much, but what if we think about them in real life? There are no easy answers. Interestingly, players can influence their humanity stat through various actions beyond just lying. Completing side quests where you help others, listening to records, or using the pray emote near statues or saints can all trigger increases in this stat. It's not one unique thing. This kind of layered approach to increasing humanity shows how the game explores human behavior in a more nuanced way. It's not just about the deception, but also about empathy, curiosity, and spirituality. So, as us players progressing through the game, we're repeatedly confronted with the choice of whether P should strive to become human or remain a puppet. Should we lie or tell the truth? It's a really strong narrative bet, but from the perspective of a philosophical exploration of identity and self-determination, it's mind-blowing, because choosing to become human might seem like the obvious path. After all, isn't that really what Pinocchio always wanted? But in the context of Lies of P, where humanity is often associated with cruelty, deception, and moral failing, this choice becomes far less clear-cut. While maybe limiting, staying a puppet could be seen as a way to keep a certain moral purity or simplicity. At the end, every decision, from choosing to lie or to tell the truth, to deciding how to interact with other characters, serves as a mirror for the player's own values and beliefs. If we play without looking for shortcuts or advantages, but based on our own ideas, P ends up becoming a reflection of ourselves, don't you think? And that's what adds a whole new level of depth to the game. It's one thing to watch a story about what it means to be human, but it's something else entirely to shape that story with your own choices. As players guide P through his journey, they're not just exploring humanity, they're reflecting on their own. Of course, Lies of P doesn't give us clear answers to these questions, but it does offer a fascinating way to think about them. By immersing players in a world where the lines between human and machine keep changing, it pushes us to examine our own beliefs about what it means to be human in a world with rapid technological progress. So what does Lies of P say about being human? Well, it's complicated. Humanity isn't a fixed state or a list of traits. It's an ongoing process of becoming, making choices, and dealing with moral and existential questions. As I make this video, I'm being human not just because I'm aware of it, but because I'm conscious of the questions I'm asking about humanity itself. Wow, did you hear that? That's philosophy, my friends. And the game kind of says what makes us human isn't our biology or our origin. It doesn't care for if one old dude named Geppetto made us, but for our capacity for growth, for moral reasoning, for empathy and cruelty alike. It posits that humanity is defined not by what we are, but by what we choose to become. And you know what's great about that? Unlike many other games, this one isn't about achieving some idealized state of perfection. It's about embracing the full range of human experience, the good and the bad, the noble and the base. It's about having the freedom to make choices, even if those choices are sometimes wrong. So maybe lying is a way to become more human, because we're not perfect by any means. I'm not saying that being a pathological liar is what makes us truly human, but rather the ability to create and believe narratives, even when we know it's wrong. It's really interesting, and I have to say, I really enjoyed the game. And no, I'm not lying. So, am I a puppet? I really want to hear your thoughts on this, so let me know in the comments what you think of the video and the game. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.